What is up, guys? We wrapped up the Knife Control Concepts seminar in Hilliard, Ohio. This was taught by Aaron Jannetti, Eli Knight, Mike Cheney. These instructors did an incredible job. We want to give you a full review of this class, what to expect if you're planning on attending, and our thoughts from this past weekend. Let's get into it. So maybe you've seen knife control concept stuff on Instagram and you're wondering, man, is this a class I should take? I want to break that down for you, really what to expect. Again, Aaron Jannetti does a really good job at the interview at the end of the video, but for the time being, I want to give you guys my full review. So before we get into the review, I want to talk about what you can expect from this course. You can expect 0 classroom, 6 hours for 2 days on the mats. That is my type of class anyway. That's the way I learn. That's how most people learn. Hands-on learning. And that's what I really like about this class. Sure, they take the time to talk about why they teach the way they teach, the concepts, the process in which they've learned all of this stuff. But the fact of the matter is people learn hands-on, so I'm really glad that they take the bulk of the class to go hands-on learning, and it really works in this environment. Very laid-back culture. I really enjoyed it. So again, with that being said, this is a very physical class. However, you can work at your own pace. You're going to be sweating, you're going to be sore, but that's the type of training you come to expect when you're checking out their videos. So really there's no surprises here. They don't burn you to the ground. They expect you to work, but they don't expect you to kill yourself. They really do a good job of balancing the physicality with some breaks here and there and working with guys one-on-one. If there's an opportunity for them to teach you something, they're going to take that opportunity. You can expect these instructors to be really, again, laid back, but they stick to the schedule. So minute by minute is really broken down, and I think they do an incredible job because as an instructor, that is one of the hardest things to get right is the timing of the class. So I would say from day one, I really noticed that minute by minute is planned out by these guys. That's how you know they've ironed out this course down to the minute. I mean, they do an incredible job breaking you down, teaching you the techniques, breaking for 5 minutes, and then we're right back at it. They don't really mess around when it comes to time. And the fact is, guys, yeah, we love downtime, but you're paying for this class. You expect to gain skills from this class, and you want as much time with the instructors and, gathering as much information as you can. So I really appreciated their ability minute by minute to really break down this class. They do a really good job with this. All right, guys, let's get into the review. So we spent 2 full days at Endeavor Defense and Fitness, and they did a really good job of teaching and catering to their students, not only breaking the concepts down, I don't want to say techniques, but the concepts down to the students, but they also do an incredible job working one-on-one. So that's the first thing I really noticed. They walk around, they make sure you understand what they're trying to teach. And that's the beauty of having 3 instructors. It really gives them the ability to work with students one-on-one. We had a rather large class, but they still took the time to walk the room, make sure they were approaching everybody. If there was an area that you were maybe struggling with, there was no issues with you raising your hand and asking a question. These 3 instructors were really on the same page when it came to the instructions, so that seemed to flow through the class these 2 days seamlessly. And again, I really enjoyed the one-on-one instruction with each instructor. It went really well. As you can probably tell by my tone, I really enjoyed this class. I can't recommend it enough. It's a very niche class, meaning it's a very specific problem that you're addressing, knives. And stay tuned for the end of the video where I talk to Aaron about why knives. He answers this question really well. There aren't a lot of classes out there like this. And as someone that nerds out on this stuff and really wants to better myself as a martial artist, as a firearms guy, I really seek out these types of classes, and they're hard to find. Not only are they hard to find, but America is a big place, and sometimes you need to travel. So finding something close by was a breath of fresh air. I really look forward to working with Aaron, Mike, Eli in the future if I have the opportunity, because they are close by to me. I'm very excited about that prospect. These guys, again, very good instructors, and I can't wait to learn more from them. So aside from it being kind of a niche problem that a lot of us want answers to, they do a really good job of just explaining and answering the why. A lot of us are going to have that question, is the why, or does this work for real? Well, as you're going through the course, you're going to learn very quickly what works and what doesn't, because again, there's pressure involved. There are elements of the class that are competitive to mean you're going to get some resistance. And I think Aaron does a really good job of explaining this, where if you're doing really well, then the partner needs to step it up a little bit, meaning 80% of the time you should be winning. So you're gaining that confidence, which is really important in a training environment. And 20% of the time you should be losing, you should be struggling. So I had a lot of really good partners throughout this class. I mean, I really did. They really helped me push myself. They helped me, in times where I was struggling, and then helped me build my confidence as we're going through the seminar. So 80% of the time you're losing, 80% of the time you're winning, 20% of the time you're losing. I really think that's a good approach, and something that, I may even take with me as I'm instructing students. I think that's a really good philosophy to have, because it gives you confidence in your ability, but you shouldn't be winning all the time. There should be a struggle. You should be trying to better yourself. So I think that's a really good approach. I like that mentality from these three. So guys, with that being said, make sure you check out Knife Control Concepts on Instagram. I'm going to let Aaron take it away. He was kind enough to let us borrow him for a few minutes to go over some techniques as well as the interview. And I think he explains these 3 questions I had for him really well. Now, I do apologize, a little bit of a disclaimer. There is some background audio in the beginning of the interview. It gets better after approximately 30 seconds or so. So bear with me on that. I didn't realize the strength of my microphone while we were doing this, and kind of the acoustics of the gym. So I apologize for that, but it is worth watching. This guy really has taken the time to understand his craft and does a really good job of explaining, the why, how this all started, and it's very interesting, so make sure you check it out.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. I'm with none other than Aaron Jannetti of Knife Control Concepts out here in Hilliard, Ohio, Endeavor Defense and Fitness. We just wrapped up a 2-day seminar. It was incredible. Can't speak highly enough of it. How did you go from little baby Aaron to now knife defending Aaron, where we are today?
I like it. So I actually started in Krav Maga. So I started in Krav Maga February 6, 2008. I'll always remember that. I had done some martial arts growing up, and I grew up in Youngstown, so violence and fighting was a thing that I was aware of. However, I really didn't get into this stuff until I was about 21, 22. So 2008, I found Krav Maga. Committed to it so much to the point that 7 months later I dropped out of college, started teaching full-time, training full-time, and it became big. So I started in Krav Maga, started taking jiu-jitsu, Thai boxing, all at the same facility, and then we started working with a Kali instructor. And then I was introduced, my first weapons base, I was introduced Rob Pincus of IC Training.
Sure, yeah.
So I started working with Rob, and then Rob introduced me to some knife and stick different programs. And since then, I was turned on to Craig Douglas back then. Ryan Hoover, who's a good friend of mine, was actually the one who introduced me to stand-up wrestling. And this was in about 2013 when we opened up here. And I realized, oh man, I've been doing this for almost 5 years and I don't know wrestling at all.
Really?
Yeah, so it's really fascinating. So it was so apparent how bad that I was at it that's why I am now obsessed with wrestling. It's one of the biggest reasons. So 2013 was a big turning point, and Ryan really pointed that out, and I've just realized more and more how much wrestling has become a component of it. So long story short, where we're at today, the KCC program, I was working with a third-party protection group. And in third-party protection and big groups, I don't always get the opportunity to shoot because I might be shooting into innocent people. So a lot of opportunities they needed training in was, how do I subdue somebody without having to just shoot? But the problem was they weren't going to train. And so I had to teach them how to train in short periods of time. And that's how flow drills came up. So I started teaching them flow drills. They would train it for a month. I'd come back in with it. And then little by little, we started implementing it here at the gym and started traveling and teaching and developing a system from there. And that's essentially how we got to this point.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Yeah, a lot of different backgrounds you can tell. And I'm shocked to hear you say you don't have a background in wrestling because you have some good wrestling. Yeah. Which is cool because it can be learned. Just because you didn't do it in high school doesn't mean that you can't figure it out later in life.
Yeah, for sure.
So why knives?
Because they are the most screwed up thing to have to deal with in close quarters fight.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm early on, the guy that I learned Krav Maga from, Mark Slane, he was one of the first ones that's like lean into the things that suck. It's more time you spend working on those things, then maybe you make them less sucky. So instead of a lot of the programs that I've been through that kind of shy away from it, like, well, just don't go to the ground, or just don't do that, or we never want to go to the inside if we're fighting against a knife. And it's like, okay, that's fine and dandy, but the best way to resolve those problems is to go into those problems and learn how to get out of them. You know, like from a jiu-jitsu standpoint, the best way to learn how to get out of a triangle is to get into triangles and learn how to get out of them. So it was that same exact idea. So knives are they're a mess. Even the most highly trained, very gifted individuals can be put down or at least jacked up real bad by a completely untrained individual with a blade. So it's such a complicated, terrifying problem that's like, to me, that's why I want to spend a ton of time doing that. Mm-hmm. So honestly, that's why knives, because they are so scary and they are so hard to deal with.
That's awesome, because going through the police academy, I don't have, all the Kali and Krav Maga background, but seeing a lot of different looks with knives, whether it's in a jiu-jitsu setting or, like I said, police academy or different defensive tactics stuff that I've done, I'm like, I don't like any of it. And that's what really turned me on to your guys' program, because it was like, they seem to have figured it out. And what I like the most about it is that you guys are pressure testing crap out of that. If you guys follow KCC on Instagram, it's like you guys are always doing this stuff. So it really translates into the instruction. And what can guys expect from your KCC program? What do you need in order to attend this class? Do you need a background in any of this stuff, or can you just come in off the street?
Yeah, so you can come in off the street. Like, you don't need a background in any way, shape, or form to come into this. Now, like any 12-hour seminar, you're going to be drinking from a fire hose. There's a lot going on there. So one of the reasons we built the system the way that we built it, like you saw, it was very modular. It was like we did this thing Saturday, and then Sunday all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're doing the same thing, it's just on the floor. And then you get into the next module and it's like, oh, the same mechanics are still applying here, they're just a little bit different, and it ties together. So we built it that way on purpose. Like, we tried to remove as much of the fanciness out and just keep like what is the most applicable like wrestling mechanics for these drills. So you can definitely come in brand new and then understand that I'm going to process as much as I can, and I need to practice when I leave. That's the biggest thing I tell people all the time. Like, it's the last thing we talked about here, right? Like, we give you the online program so that when you leave here, you can keep training, because you're only going to get good at this by continuing to train it. So you can come in off the streets. You don't need anything technically. I mean, you could show up in shorts and a t-shirt and train the whole entire weekend. Sure. We tell you to bring an extra t-shirt because you're going to sweat through it. Bring one t-shirt, maybe you don't mind getting torn up because we're going to do shirt grabs. If you have them, make gloves, bring them. We might start hitting each other. But realistically, you don't need anything. Now, if you have a background, what is really good about the way we develop the KCC program is we focus explicitly on the terrifying entanglement. So if you have a Krav Maga background, we're going to help you do your Krav Maga better. If you come from a Kali background, we'll help you do your Kali better, because we're filling in the gap where if things don't go the way you plan for them to go, this is how we navigate that terrible space. So if you have a background, it's going to make you even better, and it might make you question some things you've done in the past. It did for me.
Absolutely.
Like when Ryan was like, yeah, Krav Maga people suck at wrestling, and I was like, do we? And then he came and he did a wrestling seminar, and I was like, oh my God, we do. You know what I mean? And it's like, it allows you to question what you're working on and improve what you're working on. Yeah. But if you don't have any background, it's a great place to start, because you don't have any scars in it, right? It's like, cool, this is where I want to be at. I want to be on top. I want to be heavy pressure. If I can't run away, obviously the whole entire thing, like, don't be anywhere near a knife. But if I don't have a choice, this is how we learn how to navigate that the best way we can, at least in our experience.
Yeah, and what Aaron's saying is 100% correct. It is, I found the one-on-one instruction from 3 different instructors, but with the same message. And it really helped me kind of develop as the program went on, and I have some things that I can take home and be like, I need to work on this.
Yeah.
So that's what makes the class awesome. It's just like the debriefs. What did you do well? Okay, there's some things. What do you need to improve upon? There's definitely some things. And then what were the aha moments? If you have an answer for all of those, I think it means the training was really good.
Oh, totally.
So I definitely had that. I definitely had that when we were going through the debrief. So if you guys have the opportunity to check out Knife Control Concepts with Aaron Jannetti, definitely consider it because it's an incredible course. So with that,
And Mike Cheney and Eli Knight. There's 3 of us.
I'm sorry, Aaron Jannetti, Eli Knight, and Mike Cheney. They're all incredible instructors.
I'm the
Make sure you check
shortest
them
with
out.
the biggest beard.
Yeah, the loudest.
Definitely the loudest. Yeah, for sure.
All right, guys.
Thank y'all.
So if you're still here at the end of the video, I appreciate you guys so much. The support has been overwhelming. This has been a 2-3 week process where we are just growing and growing, and I'm so humbled by the love and support that we've gotten from the community. I mean, we haven't even taught a class yet, and you guys are loving the content. We're trying to provide you as much good content as we can, and it's only going to get better from here. So as the classes come, as we continue to grow as a community, we're going to be cultivating that confidence and training for reality, just like our slogan says. Make sure you check out forcefrontier.com. We are live, guys. Our website is official. Make sure you sign up for our newsletter. Make sure you send us an email if you have any questions about upcoming classes. We're really moving quick. It is a long process, but you guys are, following us along on our journey, and it's so exciting. So thank you so much for the support. I cannot wait to see you guys on the next one. We'll see you.